If you enjoy truthful and heartfelt conversations to inspire you to become a better version of yourself, Empowering Stories will help you. Hello, Karolina. How are you doing?
Hello, Anna. I'm very good. Very busy recently now with kids being back at school. I'm focusing on growing my Facebook community, which I will probably speak about a little bit later.
For sure.
I would like to say thank you for inviting me here because I really love what you do. I admire what you do. And I feel honored to be invited to this interview and to speak to you today. So thank you for that.
My absolute pleasure. I met Karolina at a personal development event because where do you find these kind of people who want something better for themselves? Well, at this event to grow. And we just connected that second. I think it was some sort of soul recognition. Is that right? And some common ground that we share is our absolute passion for our children, for motherhood, for being that support that kids need just to be themselves. The two of us share that we decided one day to accompany our children while they were growing up, rather than being there on top of them, telling them what to do and what not to do. So in that regard, we would be, say, alternative mothers. And now Karolina is going to tell us everything about that.
Okay. Can I first start with introducing where I come from, and is that what you would like me to do?
Yeah. Oh, that would be brilliant, because this channel is all about other women, seeing in the beautiful women that come to the program that there's a lot of commonality. And if you could do it, some other can do it. And I know that there's something really tough, some big challenge that you had to overcome to be the wonderful mother that you are now, and how you turn that into not only being a wonderful mother, excellent mother for your kids, but also to do something for other people as well. So if you could tell us about your journey, that would be brilliant, because many people are going to be there as well at this very moment.
I come from Poland, and I came to Ireland for 16 years ago, actually. It's such a long time. And I came here, and I met my husband on the day of arrival here. He opened the door of apartment where I was supposed to live, which I didn't expect, but it happened. And because I listened to my intuition, and I was guided to Ireland, even though I would never think I could go on my own to a foreign country, but I was just guided, and I just followed my intuition. And he became my husband after 1 year. So I'm really feeling, even though it was very challenging for me to come here on my own, I feel really blessed about it, because this I can't imagine my life other way, because I just feel that it was meant to happen, and the family that we created here and the life that we created here. So I came to Ireland, and at the beginning I worked in finances, because my mother used to be a banker as well, and I was very unaware as I was younger. So I basically didn't know what I wanted to do. So I decided to study finance and banking, and that's where I was for many years. Although I want to say that I actually, when I was a child, I wanted to, usually children, when they are small, in a way that they play, they show what their purpose is. And I used to play with teddy bears on a sofa. I would place them, and I would be like a teacher, coach, or whatever you may call it. But then after a while, because I was quite shy girl, I was like thinking I would not be able to teach a group of children. I would be feeling too shy and so on. So I never went down that route, and I just decided to follow exactly what my mother did. And I wasn't, when I came to Ireland, I actually wanted to study psychology. I was drawn into this direction, but at the time I thought that I'm 25 years old, it's too old to to change. That was my mindset at the time. Yeah. Now I'm
Imagine.
laughing because I was so young, but I just stayed in finances and I was okay. I was climbing up the ladder, the career ladder. And in the meantime, I also had 2 children. And when I was back from maternity leave, in our office, there was a lot of work and I was doing a lot of overtime. And I ended up experiencing a burnout. I ended up being on sick leave. And it was really tough experience for all of our family. First of all, because you see, when I ended up being on this sick leave, I just didn't. Everybody was saying you need to relax, connect with your family, enjoy this time with your family, but I just couldn't because I was so stressed out, worrying about our future and what we'll do now. And I also didn't know how to connect with my children. Maybe also because my mother used to always work in the bank. She was a manager. She was always busy. So I never experienced that connection in my own family because she was very rarely at home. And in a way, she was also very kind of sometimes absent because I think she wasn't very connected with herself and also with us, because if you are not connected with yourself, of course, you won't be connected with your loved ones. So I found it very difficult. I couldn't connect with them. Time was passing by, but I just couldn't. And everybody was asking me, are you feeling better? You should recover by now. But I just couldn't. And it was really, really tough experience. And I learned a lot from it. Finally, after maybe half year, I recovered, and I learned a lot because one thing that I want to say is that I was very impatient. I wanted to get well straight away, but it takes time. And I was praying, I was asking universe for the answers, and I was wondering why the answer is not here, why I'm not feeling well yet. But you see, the universe is really benevolent. Like, the universe wants all the best for us. And when we pray, we get the answers. But the thing is that sometimes we are so impatient and so focused on our worries that we don't see the answers. And we just can't see it because our vision is fogged. Like, we're not ready to receive this help from the universe. So that's one thing that I learned. And once I opened to it, I realized that I got help from so many people. So many people appeared that out of nowhere at the right time, who actually guided me in the right direction and showed me the way and supported me. And then coaches, mentors later on when I recovered as well. So that was the first lesson. And I can say, like, I met, for example, in the hospital because at some stage I ended up in the hospital, and so there was a nurse beside my bed when I woke up. And she said to me that when she was praying in the morning, she got the message that there is a girl in the hospital that really needs help, that she needs someone to support her. And this nurse, she was, even though it wasn't her responsibility, she was helping me every day. She was praying beside my bed. She was chatting to me, bringing me books to inspire me. And she even took me to a healer who, she said, after you go to this healer, everything will change around and you will start to recover. And that's what happened. After 1 month, after going to this healer, I was like, everything has shifted, and I started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And again, I started attracting all people, the resources, everything that helped me to recover. So that was the first thing, really trusting the universe, that when you pray, the answer will come, but you need to be open. You need to be open to it. You need to be open to receive it. So that was the first lesson. And the second lesson was that actually this situation was a blessing for me. So I really needed that, because first of all, I needed a push from universe to get out of this corporate world and to change my life, because it wasn't the way it was. It wasn't right, because I was all the time in the office, very busy. I was at home maybe at 8 o'clock. I even worked some weekends, and my husband was with my children at home. And one thing is that actually it was a pattern that I repeated from my own family home, because my mother was always busy, my father was at home, and I repeated exactly the same pattern. My husband at home, me at work, and I needed a push for me to shift this situation. Yeah, it wouldn't happen if I didn't get sick. Finally, once I started feeling better, I started connecting with my family, with my children, with my husband, and everything has shifted. It was incredible. I experienced so many beautiful moments where, like, for example, one day I remember that my daughter was falling asleep and I was keeping her in my hands. And it was one of the happiest moments in my life. I felt like so present, and feeling her breath, feeling her touch, feeling her gentle body, and feeling like, oh my goodness, that's happiness, connecting to my inner child, to my child, not my inner child. Inner child I will speak about later. But that's what really, what life is about. So I had many profound moments like that where I started experiencing this connection. And the other thing that I would like to say about is that I realized that actually being playful with children can be healing for us. It's not only for them, but actually it's healing for us, parents. And when I opened to those moments of being playful, spontaneous with them, I actually experience this power of being, in the flow, being present, and being just like joyful, like this little child, and in this way I also connected to this little girl that I used to be some time ago. And, maybe because sometimes the adults around us, when we are a small child, sometimes the adults are like, maybe when we are a little bit noisy and playing, sometimes they stop us from that and they say, oh no, don't be so noisy, and you're too loud. And sometimes we shut off this inner child, and that's what happened with me. And when I started spending more time with my family, with my children, I have rediscovered it. I have rediscovered this little girl that I used to be, and when I have rediscovered her, it made it easier for me to connect with my children, because my vibrations have completely changed from, being this serious accountant working in the bank and, thinking about the next accounts to prepare, to actually just enjoying the moment like children can, and being playful, being spontaneous. So that was another lesson for me. And I also want to mention about one thing that I also learned and discovered. I had one moment when I was sitting in the bathroom, and I had this voice, and it was saying like, oh, Karolina, everything is ended up now. You can't create anything good in your life anymore. You are not good mother, and lots of blame, lots of shame. And then there was another voice, and this voice said, actually, you have a choice. You can keep focusing on this fear and all these negative things, or you can today choose what you want to create in your life. Focus on what is important in your life. And that was for me a life-changing moment. Apart from, this moment when I went to the healer, when I was in this bathroom and this voice, I decided to listen to this voice, that other voice that said, focus instead of fear on what is important for me. And for me, what was important was love and family. And since then, everything has shifted, because once I started focusing on what is important, I started getting ideas, what I want to create, what I can do in order to live according to these values and what is important. So I got idea, go to parenting course. I went to parenting course. And when I learned in parenting course how to connect with my family, I started, enjoying more time with them. My relationship with them has shifted. My relationship with my husband has shifted. So then I started feeling better and creating completely different energy, different outcomes in my life. So, so the lesson is actually about uh, focusing on the right things, not focusing on fear and what you are afraid of not creating in your life, but focusing on what you want to create in your life. So I'm talking a lot.
And you should, Karolina, you should, because what you're saying is in our reach. We can all decide whether we want to listen to fear or we want to focus on what's important. And for us to decide what's important for me. What's important for me to get the blessing of my mother because I followed her path and that way she will accept me and love me? Or would it be more important to follow my calling, which is teaching? That I was born with that in your case, and in my case as well, I must admit, and have a family with a different dynamic than the one that I grew up with. What's important, I can choose. But that choice is so hard because after so many years of being tamed into being some sort of a child, overall for us girls, then stepping out of it could be so hard because it's in all ourselves, it's everywhere, it's permeating everywhere. What you did is very brave, and it's so inspiring because we can do that as well. If you did it, we can do it too.
Yes, everyone can do it. And since long, very, very long time ago, I have this feeling that each of us has a purpose, each of us has something unique about them. And I think that actually that's also one of the roles of parents, to help their children to nurture this uniqueness and not to compare them to others and say, oh, you should do this, he studied law, he's very successful, you should do the same. No, we should nurture this new uniqueness to help them to live according to this path, because I believe absolutely everyone has that thing. And that's why it's so important how we parent our children, because if parents help us to nurture that since young age, it's easier for us to actually discover it and to follow this path. Yeah. So that's one thing. There's also another thing that I would like to mention, very important. And I think we mentioned it one day as well when I spoke to you. It's about one thing that I also learned about loving myself and how important it is for us to learn ourselves rather than expecting others to love us conditionally. Like sometimes parents are, okay, I will love you if you do this and that. And because of that, like maybe we follow the path that they have chosen for us, or maybe some other things as well. Sometimes parents treat children like their own ownership, and they expect them to do things just because they said so. So, and children, if they learn since young age that they will receive love only if they please them, that's of course the worst possible thing for them, because in a situation like I couldn't create this love from within, and I needed to learn how to do it. And what I did, I started to connect to that inner child again, that little girl, and that process is amazing. Anyone can use it, and anyone can use it every day. Whenever you feel maybe like insecure, fearful, when you connect to that inner child, you know that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone loves you. It doesn't matter if you do things according to someone else's request. No, you can love and accept yourself the way you are. And you can create this routine that when you repeat it every day, you start to feel safe, secure, loved, no matter the external circumstances. And that's also one of the things that we do with parents when I work with them. And it's an amazing process that can be life-changing for them, because when this inner child is wounded, and maybe there is a situation that happened with parents when they were young, what can happen is that when their child, when let's say when we are parents now, we can be triggered by our children, maybe by a situation with our child, and it can remind us of that moment with our parent when we were a small child. And because of that, we get very upset with our child, we yell. And sometimes parents ask me, what's going on with me? Why I'm so upset with my child and I can't control it. But this can also be because of the fact that this inner child was wounded when they were young, and they need to reconnect with this inner child. Once they reconnect, they can start to create completely new reality with their own children from new level of awareness, because they realize, first of all, why they are so triggered. And the second thing is that they also learn to, in a way, like heal this situation that happened with their parent and connect with this inner child that was wounded. And like with many parents that I work with, they said that, yeah, maybe they stopped being upset with their child, that they don't fall asleep, stop being upset with their child when they don't follow their requests, because they can now see this connection. And once they heal it, it's for me, this was really life changing to learn that for myself as well, and on this healing journey. And yes, I think that the love for ourselves that's where we need to begin this work with. And that's why the work that I do with parents is first of all about parents, because I think it all begins with us. When we create this love for ourselves, that's where we can offer it to our children too, because we can't pour from an empty basket. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I couldn't agree more, because that was exactly my journey as well. I didn't have the tools to be with my kids in a way that I could be a supporting parent for them, because I didn't know how. And my parents, they just didn't know. They were victims as well. Mm-hmm. We were their victims and they were victims as well. But we can always cut these dynamics, and we can always cut the patterns and change them. And well, you decided to change them for your kids. And it's my hallucination, because my kids are older than Karolina's. Mine are already adults. They are 20 and 18 now. I say it all the time because they are my best project ever. And I can see the results now, Karolina, because I'm ahead of you by being older. And they are so empowered already. They know that they are worthy, because they grew up with those values, that they are worthy. It didn't matter what they did. One thing is their behavior, another thing is who they are. We always kept them separate. And because they feel worthy, there's nothing in the world that they think that they cannot achieve when they have kids, if they have ever children. But anyway, with the people around them, they are already oozing out that confidence that's contagious, because negative emotions spread out, but positive emotions spread out further, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
what do you think of that? Love is so much more powerful than fear, isn't it?
It is, definitely. And that's why, when I started focusing on love and connection, instead of fear, everything has shifted. And also, when you speak about the emotions, and that the positive ones are much more powerful than negative ones, I also want to say that that's also one thing that really helped me. When I was very sick, my husband got for me a journal to write and add gratitude every day. And I used to practice gratitude before, and it was life-changing for me. But of course, when I got sick, in a way, I disconnected from it. Thankfully, he got for me this journal. And when I started writing it, something happened. After a couple of days, I started seeing this little light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I started thinking, oh yeah, maybe I actually could do this in the future. Maybe this is opportunity. Like, I started seeing opportunities rather than focusing on, oh, everything is really bad. And this is also one thing that I wanted to mention. And I still practice gratitude every day. Like, it's a must. And when you do that, actually what happens is it becomes your habit, like to think this way. Yes, because it's like with the concept of neuroplasticity, that every time you think certain thought or think certain way, these neural pathways are lighting up within your mind. And what happens is that over time, when you do it regularly, it becomes a habit. So you even, without even practicing it, over time you just start seeing good in everything. And this is amazing thing to teach to our children too. And that's why I practice gratitude with my children every evening. And now it's just their way of thinking. And even parents that I work with, some of them told me like examples of how their children have shifted their thinking too after practicing it for a while. Like, you know, one mother, her daughter was very negative and very upset all the time. And after practicing gratitude for a while, she started, when she came from work, she started saying to her, "Mommy, I am so grateful that you are back from work." And she was expressing it with so much joy and, you know, so much authenticity. She was really crying out of happiness, you know, how much her way of thinking and behaving has shifted just because of applying this simple ritual in the evening. You know, just 3 minutes, lie down with your kids and ask them what they are grateful for. And also you say what you are grateful for, so that it also gives them some inspiration too. But I have to say, I also get inspiration from my children sometimes. Like, for example, my son, one day he said, "Mommy, I'm grateful for myself." And I thought, actually, he's right. We need to be grateful for ourselves too, yes? We're learning from them all the time as well.
Even if you want to, I would say to all the parents, if you allow me, even though you are the professional here, but we can do small things to be grateful and to practice gratitude. You don't need to do something special and light 1,000 candles and sit down and meditate for a while. It can be something as simple as I'm so grateful that you're my son. I'm so grateful that we have this beautiful house, or this tiny house, or that we have a roof over our heads, that we have food on the table, that there's water in the tap. For so many people, there's no water in the tap. I'm so grateful for everything. But there are so many things, everything around us, we can be grateful for.
Actually, I also wanted to mention it. The other day, I've written a post about my daughter. When we came from school and were in a playground and we were on our own, her friends didn't come, and she said, "Oh, this is a really bad day, it's raining and my friends didn't come to play, the day is going to be terrible." And I said to her, "You know, Gabby, I understand, first of all, I empathize with her, because it's also important to say,
yes.
I understand that you are upset, I understand that, you know, you wanted to play with your friends and so on." And then I said, "You know, you have a choice. You can either keep thinking, okay, the day is going to be bad, if you want, or you can say, okay, I think the day is actually going to be amazing. I think the day is going to be actually really good." And she, you know, I said it to her and she thought for a while. And then she said, "Okay, Mommy, you know what? Let's go to the forest, because we have a forest in our estate and she loves connecting to nature and it always makes her feel good." So she said, "Let's go to the forest." And we went to the forest. She picked some flowers. She loves picking up flowers and, you know, cones and various nature, you know, things from the nature. Little treasures. And she did that. And then she said, "You know, Mommy, I have an idea. We are going to bake a cake today, and we are going to organize good humor birthday party." And a good humor birthday party. So, you know, for the reason that the good humor was born, that's how it's called. So, you know, we make the cake, we put a banner on the window, you know, happy birthday, and you know, and we were just enjoying. Sometimes we also put on music and we dance, you know. So she, in this way, she learns that we always have a choice. Like, we can think the day is going to be miserable, but we can also arrange something to actually put us in good mood, connect to the nature. If we like to bake, if we love to bake, why not organize, you know, good humor birthday party? Why not? Who said that not? So in this way, she made a choice and she saw, yeah, it's
Good.
possible to enjoy the rest of the day. So, and I also
Oh
want to
my God.
mention
So
that I
cute.
read your books and I really love, I can see from the books how you raise your sons and how it really pays off to do these things when they are small, to create these habits, these rituals. I also love the conversations that you had with them about life, about
Thank
various,
you.
yeah. And, I can see how valuable it can be for their future. So I really admire all your work that you do about,
Thank you very much.
cooking and
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Carolina. I will write more books. I have many working titles already. I'll continue doing that. And who knows, maybe we can write something together, you and I.
oh, maybe, why not?
Why
I
not?
also want to write a book. So I have many ideas already. So I'm open to that.
Fantastic. Wow, what a powerful conversation. How many nuggets of wisdom you've given us. But I would say that the highlight is whatever situation we can turn it around because we have the choice, and with that comes the power. Could that be
Yes,
it?
yes,
Yeah.
and every day is example for that. That we have a choice, and whether it's in illness, like it was for me, or everyday life situation, like it was with my daughter, you can choose how you want the rest of the day to unfold. Yeah, you can choose how you want to feel, and that's why I always that's one of the practices that I also do with my children is in the evening before they fall asleep. I ask them, how do you want to feel tomorrow? What do you want to experience tomorrow? What emotions? And they say, connected, maybe creative, joyful. So in this way, it's like they know they have a choice how they want to feel, like on the next day. So again, it becomes their habit for the future. Yeah. And so
Yes.
we always have a choice. Of course, there are circumstances, and sometimes it's not, we can't control everything, but we can control
Of course not.
how we choose to feel. That's one thing that we can decide. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much for creating this new generation of empowered kids, and they will lead by example. So you're changing the world. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. When people want to connect with you, Carolina, where do we send them to?
I think that they can either go to my website, www.theherofamily.com, and there is my contact number, there is my email, theherofamilycoaching@gmail.com, and they can also book a discovery call with me, which is completely free. But I think the best way actually is to go to connect, become part of our community on Facebook. It's a free community and it's called Empowered Parents, Empowered Kids. And the purpose of this community is to help parents to connect with their children, to empower them. And the purpose is to raise their awareness about conscious parenting, to educate them. And we have regular lives, master classes. We also ask questions for them to also raise their awareness, because answering questions sometimes can be very, very good for altering your awareness. And I think it's the best way to learn about me, to connect with me, to learn more about how I help parents, how I work with parents. And from there, they can also connect with me if they wish and arrange such a call with me. So, but I think I would be very happy to see them, even just to be part of this community. I am very passionate about it. I created it in March, and we are growing all the time. And I have plans to invite also other experts who can help also in other areas related to parenting, so that we can learn together and so that we can benefit from the knowledge of you know, everyone, because I believe everyone has something to contribute and we can learn from each other. So I have lots of plans for growing this community, and I would be very happy to see them joining us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Karolina, I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.